we go. Welcome back to Living with a Classic, and today is a big day for two reasons. First of all, we're going to fit some new parts, the first new parts to go on my Project XJ-S over here. We're going to do the front brakes. In the previous video, we took everything apart and it looked really good, but we're upgrading to EBC brake discs. These look very nice. We put EBC yellow stuff pads on there as well. So we'll put all that back together, grease up the bearings, and then the front end should be done for now. I'd like to thank my sponsor, Simply Performance, for supplying these and lots of other parts for this project. They're a big sponsor for the whole restoration, which I'm really thankful for. So if you need any parts for your XJ-S or other Jags, have a look at Simply Performance. Have the contact information down below. They have a lot of performance parts and a lot of used parts as well. So I'd like to thank them a lot for their support. The other big news is, as you noticed, I'm not wearing any thick jacket. And that's because I finally have heat in my workshop. Behind me, if you hear a slight little buzzing sound, I have a heat pump going. So it's very nice and warm in here, and it feels so much nicer to work with some heat. Now let's go up front and I'll show you what I've done since last time. Then we'll go to the bench and assemble these discs onto the hub, put it all back together, new pads, and it should be pretty quick. Up front here, I haven't done too much except paint it black. We looked through it the last time. All the bushings and everything look really good and everything like that, so we're not going to be replacing that at the moment. We will do future upgrades as we go. So I mean, we're upgrading the brakes at first, but then the car will be on the road and we'll drive it as is. Then we'll do the suspension, so we'll do different shock absorbers and all of that, and then we'll probably do different bushings and things and stiffen the thing up. But for now, I just want to make this look nice. It's been painted before, but it was flaking a couple places, so just gave it a quick once over of some black paint. Looks a lot better, but at some point in the future, this is all coming apart. I'm probably getting sandblasted and painted more professionally, but this is better than nothing. And this is a good tip. You need to cover a stub axle, just get a disposable glove, put it over, and that works really well. Over here on the bench, the only thing I've done is I've painted this part of the hub here. No one's ever really going to see it, but I don't want to put that rusty bit back. I haven't painted this side because I like it to be bare steel, and just brush it clean so you get a nice mating surface with the wheel. And I had a look over the bearings as well, and the grease is, I mean, this thing hasn't rolled since I put it back together. It's still perfectly clean, so I'm not going to do anything about the rear bearing. I mean, otherwise I have to remove this oil seal and get a new one to get that one out. But there's lots of grease in there. It is still, as new. I'll put a little extra in there, and we'll put some grease on this bearing. But other than that, that's going to go back together. I've cleaned up the surface over here, so we're ready to mount the disc to the hub. That's pretty straightforward. You just get the disc and line it up like so. There we go. Got the bolts over here. They were in very good condition. Whoever put them back used a little bit of anti-seize on them, so that's also a good thing. If you ever want to take this apart, they do have spring washers, so remember to put those back. If you're wondering about EBC brakes, they do come with some good instructions because they are handed left and right. And these will have the black coating on them. You don't need to clean off anything from them. I mean, if you get some fingerprints and things off them, you could just wipe that off. But if you have the traditional normal silver ones, steel colored ones, then they have a coating on them, and you remove them with some brake cleaner like you would with some regular brakes. Let's see. I'll tighten these 5 bolts down, and then we're ready to put this part back onto the car. This is the outer wheel bearing. I'm going to show how to repack a bearing. Most of you guys probably know how to do it, but in case you've never done it, it is very simple. So first of all, try and remove as much old grease as you can. You can pretty much clean these out with brake clean if you want, so there's no grease left. I just wipe them down. Put some new grease in your hand. Maybe a little more than that. Wear gloves. It's recommended. And all you're doing is pushing new grease in one side, and the old grease will come out the other. So push it flat against your hand. As you're seeing, the older grease is getting pushed out there, and you see your grease is coming out. So I'll put some more in my hand and just work my way around the edge. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. It's looking good. There's new grease everywhere. I saw old grease come out pretty much, or not pretty much, but all over. So the last thing I'm going to do is just slather the outside with some grease, and that's ready to go back on. So we're ready to put the hub on. There we go. We're going to grab our freshly greased up bearing. And we have a washer. There we go, only fits one way. And then we have a nut. Alright, so to set sort of the preload or the inflow on the bearing, you can of course do it with a dial gauge, and there's a setting for that. I don't have one, so in the past I've done sort of a traditional way of where you tighten it until you start to feel some resistance, and then you back it off a bit. So, still no resistance. Okay, now we got some resistance. I'm going to slacken a bit, see? No resistance at all there. Okay, starting to feel some resistance there. None there. A bit of resistance there. So I'm going to move it back about one flat and see how that is. So until there. That seems pretty good. So we're going to find whichever, there's so much grease here it's hard to see which, and of course we're going to fit our new split pin there, and that feels really good. No excessive play or anything like that. I'm going to get some pliers, bend that out. Snug them up in there, so that's not going anywhere, and everything still feels good, and no play or anything like that. Perfect. So got the dust cap here, still has a bunch of clean grease in there, but there's a grease fitting here that of course I'm going to fill with some grease. But before I put the dust cap on, I'm just going to put a little bit extra in here. Not gonna hurt anything. There we go. Dust cap back on. There we go. That looks really good with that brake disc on there. I'm going to get the caliper on now, and then we're ready for some pads. Got the caliper here. Last time we looked at it and saw no issues with it. Realized it was rebuilt before the car was put on the road, so either rebuilt or it's a brand new caliper. Because stainless steel pistons and a lot of other nice things. Should be the last of it now. Let's see, do the bottom one as well. I am going to go back and torque them later when I have new locking wire. I'm all out. And I will need some for the rear suspension as well, so I'll come back to that in a little bit later. Also waiting on new brake lines, brake hoses, so I'm just going to let the old one hang here for now, and we'll put new ones on later. But now, we'll put on the pads. Here are the pads. I went with EBC yellow, and I'm going to read on the box and kind of explain why I went with yellow. Because the entry level is green stuff. It's a soft high friction formula and sports combat hot hatches in street use. And the thing is, this is a heavy car. Red stuff is a little bit too extreme, but yellow stuff I really like, because it's an ultra high friction armated formulation for brake improvement on heavy loaded vehicles or ultra fast street use and entry level track day use on passenger cars and muscle cars. So that's for bigger cars, for more use. And you know what? I may want to put this thing, do some slight track things. I've never been on track. That'd be really fun. So I decided to go with those. Didn't really need any warm up or anything like that. But they shouldn't fade as fast. Nice thing is, we got some EBC stickers, so we can actually. This will probably be one of the only cars I have stickers on, but just it'll be a little bit fun. Or maybe we won't do stickers. I haven't really decided yet. But what I also understand is that the red coating on here is a break-in coating to break onto the discs just a little bit better. To bed into the discs. It says just mount them as you usually would. What I usually do, and some people like this, some people don't. I like to put some anti-seize there, and sometimes a little bit there, but there's an anti-squeal shield there, so I'm going to put there and there. In my opinion, it helps. It makes everything slide a little bit better, especially if you have cars like I do that sometimes sit around for months at a time without actually being driven. Then I have a feeling that this actually does help a little bit. So let's get the first one into place, and that one's sliding in very nicely, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side, of course. See, I want them to slide in really nicely. There we go. And I like to put a little bit on the pins as well. Might be a little bit unnecessary, but at least on these calipers, they do kind of slide on these pins also. So we're gonna get that one in a little bit more. Okay, and that one also. There we go. Gonna knock those back a little bit. However, I still need to get the new locking pins. They haven't arrived. They're going to arrive probably with the brake hoses. So I'm not going to knock those all the way into place now. I'm going to wait until I have the locking rings. But I think that looks really cool. And turn the wheel a little bit so you can see a bit more of the yellow stuff in there. No one's ever going to see that with the wheels I'm running. I run these stock Kent wheels, but at least I know that I have some good brake pads and some very, very nice brake discs as well. I think this will be a really great upgrade. I can't wait to get out on the road and feel how these brakes feel. Anyways, that's it for this video. I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other side, but off camera. Just going to fit new brakes on that side as well. It's all taken apart. Still need to paint that side, but we'll do that, get it back together, and then the front is pretty much ready to go for now. Like I said, there will be future upgrades. I think this is a great upgrade to start with. I always want to try out EBC brakes, so I was so happy when Simple Performance contacted me about working together on this project, and that they told me that they could offer EBC brakes as well. I got really excited. So I'm not going to bleed the brakes right now when I get the new brake hoses as well, which I'll fit off camera, but you know, we're removing the rear suspension, and I'm going to take the master cylinder out, just have a look inside, probably just do a seal kit in that thing, really depending on how the rest of the brake system looks. But so far, it's looking really good. Anyways, I hope you guys like this video. Give it a thumbs up, share it with friends. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe to the channel. It really does help out a lot. And if you want to catch up on the old videos on this car, I'll put a link to the playlist down below. You can see all the previous videos on this project. Until next time, I'm Adam. This was Living with a Classic. I'll see you soon.